How's everyone doing? Today I'll be showing you my How's everyone doing? Today I'll be showing you my complete horror Blu-ray Steelbook collection. And let me know if you've seen any of these movies and what you think of them. And let me know what your favorite of my horror Blu-ray Steelbooks is that I'm about to show you. And let me know if you have any horror Blu-ray Steelbook recommendations for me to pick up from my collection. And if you have any horror Blu-ray Steelbooks in your collection, let me know what your favorite is. Leave me those comments down below. But now let's go ahead and get into it and check out my horror Blu-ray Steelbook collection. Let's check it out. Here is all of the horror Blu-ray Steelbooks. That row right there and then up to there. So let's go ahead and get into it. And I actually have a few that I had off to the side. I got to find a place to put them, but I'm going to show them first. And the first one is John Carpenter's The Thing, which is my all-time favorite movie. I have a few different Steelbooks for this one, but this is the Scream Factory one. This is the one that had the newest transfer at the time, and it was the best one out there. But now there is an actual 4K release for it, but I'm still happy to have this one in the collection. And again, at the time, it was the best release for it, at least here in the US. Next up is Mandy. This movie is just a wild acid trip of a movie, and I definitely dig the heck out of it. Very surreal feel, just balls to the wall. Nicolas Cage just kicking butt in this one, and I definitely thought it had phenomenal cinematography too. This is a Panos Cosmatos film, and a really good revenge film, and I like that title like script on the back right there for Mandy. And next up is One Cut of the Dead. Now, this is one of those movies you have to stick with it. Like the first 25 minutes or so, I was saying, I hate this movie, I can't stand it. And I'm so glad I stuck with it to the end. This is a movie that I think everybody should watch if you want to make films yourself, like independent movies, like especially for horror too. Like I think the movie Slacker from Richard Linklater, Kevin Smith's Clerks, and then One Cut of the Dead are like some movies that every independent filmmaker should watch. So this one was just a really awesome zombie movie, and a high recommendation if you're a fan of low budget movies, and again if you want to make films yourself. Again, you have to stick with it past the first 25 minutes. Next up is A Quiet Place, and I like the scratch marks right there, claw marks, which are debossed, and there's some text right there. This was a really innovative film, kind of a game changer. The sequel I didn't care for quite as much. It was decent, but nowhere near as good as the first one for me. But I would like to see more. They could do more for it. So make a third one, make a trilogy. Next up is the Dias de Muerte version right there of Carrie. Again, I love that sugar skull design, and an all-time classic horror movie and a great film from Brian De Palma. Let me know what your favorite Brian De Palma movie is. And next we've got The Three from Hell 4K Ultra HD Best Buy exclusive Steelbook. And I love this Steelbook so friggin' much. When you take off that slipcover, it reveals the three characters right there, their skeleton form. So how cool is that? I love that so friggin' much. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of this movie, but I am a fan. It's essentially the baby Firefly show, and I'm okay with that. I'm a big fan of Sherry Moon Zombie, so I really enjoyed this one. Let me know what your favorite Rob Zombie movie is, and what your favorite of the Firefly family trilogy is. House of Thousand Corpses hands down for me. But it was nice to see Sid Hagen here, if only for one scene. I got a chance to meet him a couple times, really fan-friendly, and it was a liability thing for insurance, so they wouldn't let him film anything, but Rob Zombie snuck him in for one scene, and Captain Spaulding is such an iconic character. But yeah, I'm a fan of this one, happy to get this release, and love the design for it. And then next up is another Best Buy exclusive 4K Ultra HD Steelbook, and that's for John Carpenter's Halloween. This is probably like one of my all-time favorite Steelbooks now. Love the design for this one. And again, I love these clear plastic slip covers now, because they actually are practical. They can protect the Steelbook against damage. but that design is so freaking awesome. I did an unboxing review of this on my channel when I first got it, so you can check that out. And I did an unboxing review for the 3 from Hell Steelbook too recently, so check that out. And this is an all-time classic slasher, very influential, and I'm loving the fact that they're releasing more horror movies on 4K and 4K Steelbooks. Let me know if you have any 4K Ultra HD Steelbooks, and if you have any horror 4K titles and horror 4K Steelbooks. Leave me those comments down below. And then next up, another one is the Mondo Steelbook for A Quiet Place, the first one. And I did an unboxing review for this one too. And Mondo was doing these clear plastic slipcovers for a while, so it's nice to see other companies doing them too, because I think it looks nice and it's practical. But now let's get into the Steelbooks on the shelves. First up is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This is the Everything Blue exclusive. This was like the first one they did, and it's just the Arrow Video Steelbook that slides out right here. If I can show you. There we go. And it's a nice slipcase, really beautiful edition. I love what they did with that newly commissioned artwork and the spot gloss on there. Very cool. And they've put out some other really nice additions too. I would definitely recommend checking out Everything Blue. Next up is the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the regular Steelbook from Arrow Video. Love the heck out of it. It's a movie that I grew up watching all the time, so I'm going to keep both of those editions. I have like a Killer Clowns from Outer Space collection. I've got several different, signed editions, DVD with a lenticular faceplate, different other artwork for the Blu-ray release. So I always pick up those ones because it's one of those ones that I collect essentially because it's one of my favorites. I grew up with it. Next up is the Arrow Video Blood and Black Lace from Baba. And then Takashi Miike's Audition. Another Arrow Video Steelbook. And I guess the first few are all Arrow Video Steelbooks. Zombie Flesh Eaters, aka Zombie from Lucio Fulci. Classic zombie film. I remember watching this one when I was a kid and just being enthralled with the eye scene. And then the zombie versus shark scene. That was iconic, but definitely classic. And this Steelbook is beautiful. I love the orange artwork right there. And this is out of print. Goes for a decent amount, so very happy to have picked that up when I did. Next up is Phenomena, which is my all-time favorite Dario Argento movie. Again, another beautiful Steelbook from Arrow Video. I love everything about this film. Young Jennifer Connelly who can control insects. There's an evil killer deformed kid, a monkey wielding a razor blade, and an evil mother, Donald Pleasance. The soundtrack is amazing too. The Valley song I absolutely love, but love that film. I try to get as many editions of that as possible too. I know Arrow Video just did another re-release of that one. I have it up on there too in the window box edition, and I believe Synapse released it too. Life Force. This might be my favorite Tobe Hooper movie. He just passed away. May he rest in peace. I also really love Funhouse. Pits in the Pendulum. Right there, the classic Edgar Allan Poe adaptation. Love this horizontal design right there. And then we've got Theater of Blood, another horizontal design with Vincent Price. Love the heck out of this one, just hilarious. Love all the characters Vincent Price plays. White of the Eye. And those are all my Arrow Video Blu-ray Steelbooks right there. Next up is Shaun of the Dead. I got the debossing of the title. Love that one. This one might be... See, I actually got rid of one of my Shaun of the Dead Steelbooks, the Canadian one, just because I had so many. And I was like, that one's kind of the most generic looking one. I love that artwork, but this Mondo one is beautiful as well. Kind of hard to top that. So I do love what Mondo's dealing with the Steelbooks. Initially, I didn't love a lot of their designs, but now I'm really growing fond. Like the Thing one. I had to get it because it's my all-time favorite movie, John Carpenter's The Thing. I've talked about it endlessly. Ennio Morricone's score, Dean Cundy's cinematography, Rob Bottin's practical effects, that sense of isolation and paranoia, the Antarctic Research Station. I love horror movies with a snowy setting. The whole cast was phenomenal. John Carpenter's directing. Just, again, my all-time favorite movie, but I hate that artwork. It looks like Ice Groot. It looks like an ice version of Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. Terrible artwork. But love the film. Next up is Das Ding It's the German Steelbook for the Thing. Next up is the Play.com exclusive for the Thing. Really unique artwork. This is one of the, as far as the Blu-rays and DVDs, one of the more unique ones. There you go. And that's out of print and goes for a decent amount as well. And then we've got the Godzilla Roaring Metal Pack. Aw, it doesn't roar anymore. That's a bit of a bummer. I don't have the... How do you put batteries in here or something? That's disappointing. I haven't clicked this in a little bit, but yeah, it does not roar anymore. But it still looks awesome as far as the Godzilla tail right there, embossed and raised up. But yeah, let me know if anybody else has this edition, if their one still roars or not. The last time I checked this, like, I don't know, a few months ago, it roared still. And how do you change the batteries in here for that? That's one thing I want to figure out, because I want to make it roar again. That was one of like the really cool parts about that one. The Witch, which I absolutely love, one of my favorite modern horror movies, especially American-wise. I dig the heck out of that one. Very atmospheric. 10 Cloverfield Lane, really enjoyed this one as well. John Goodman's performance in there was amazing. I love the ending to it and love how it played out. It Follows, also one of my favorite modern American horror films. Reminds me of old school John Carpenter. I love the concept of it, very unique. And Micah Monroe is stunning. And I love the simplistic design for the Steelbook, but it really works. And then next up is, I believe this is Second Sight that put this out. Yes, and this is the Steelbook for Return of the Living Dead. Now this was noted as being Region B locked, but it is not. If you put it in your Region A player and press menu as soon as it goes in, it will let you play it. And this has the More Brains documentary on here, which in the US was a whole separate release. So that's pretty cool. Over 5 hours, or nearly 5 hours of bonus features. Love the heck out of this. And I think Return of the Living Dead has become my favorite zombie movie now. I say it might have because I go back and forth with, you know, the original Night of the Living Dead, original Dawn of the Dead. But this one is just one that I think I might have watched the most now. The first one I ever watched, one of the very first horror movies I ever watched was Night of the Living Dead, and I love the original Dawn of the Dead, but this one's just so fun. I love the punk soundtrack, the talking zombies, running zombies, Tarman, one of the most iconic zombies out there. Purge Anarchy, if I can get it out of there. The J card is in there. Probably the only Purge movie I really liked, so that's why I kept that one. First one, again, I don't really love the concept, and the first one I didn't really think was anything great. And the third one was subpar to me. The Lords of Salem from Rob Zombie, I love this movie up until like the last 20 minutes. For me, it was going to be a modern classic up until those last 20 minutes, but still enjoy it. Great witch movie. Attack the Block, really fun, very underrated. Love the heck out of this one. Basically, it's a UK film where aliens come down, and I guess like an urban setting, and there are these kids who start out being like kind of bad kids, juvenile delinquents, fight against and protect their block against the aliens. I Am Legend, which is by far my favorite adaptation right there, and I loved this movie. Really good, from Richard Matheson, again from the title I Am Legend. Richard Matheson from New Jersey, and yeah, by far the best adaptation. Omega Man is way dated. Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price is just kind of a snooze fest, really, and I know a lot of people hate on this one, but I love the heck out of it. And the scene with the dog always gets me. The ending obviously has some issues, but Event Horizon, just a great, terrifying sci-fi horror movie. Some just creepy imagery in there. Resident Evil Afterlife, Resident Evil Extinction, Resident Evil Apocalypse, and Resident Evil, the first one. I believe these were all Walmart exclusives. And yeah, after the second one, for me, they just kind of go downhill progressively. I might get rid of the last two and just keep the first two. Those are the ones that I really enjoyed. Daybreakers, which is, to me, an underrated vampire movie. Really interesting take on the vampire genre as well. And love the cast right there with Ethan Hawke, Willem Dafoe, Sam Neill. And this is actually a metal pack edition. It's a Dutch metal pack. And next up is Psycho, which again is the horizontal design, which I love. Love that shot as well. There's been a lot of steelbooks for Psycho out here, but this one to me is amazing, and this is the German release. Zombieland. Love the heck out of this movie. Just a fun movie. I think this is a great date movie. You've got horror, comedy, some romance. Woody Harrelson's awesome. Bill Murray, love it. And then next we got Doom right here. This one to me, it's just a lot of fun. You've got The Rock, Carl Urban, Rosamund Pike, who I can't look at her the same now after watching Gone Girl. But just a very tense and action-packed horror sci-fi movie. Action, too. Underworld Awakening. Love that cover. And I do like these movies, but they're kind of like a Resident Evil. I feel like once you've seen one, you've seen them all. There's just slight variations as they go along. From Dusk Till Dawn. Love the heck out of this movie. Especially love the Selma Hayek scene. And Quentin Tarantino with his foot fetish. I wonder how many times he requested to redo that scene. I was like, that's a good take, but let's try it again. A little bit more toe action this time. And Drag Me to Hell, which I am actually not a big fan of this film. I do need to rewatch it. I just thought it was too ridiculous. It was like Looney Tunes. It was, some of the scenes were just way over the top for me. And I know people love this one, but I just couldn't get into it just because it was so absurd and over the top and cartoonish. And I know people are like, well, that's what they were going for. Well, it doesn't always appeal for everyone. And yeah, the ending I saw coming too. But I'm going to rewatch it to see maybe if I appreciate it a little bit more this time around. Pan's Labyrinth. This was the Canadian edition. Classic Del Toro right there. Halloween 3. Season of the Witch. I love this one. This is a German metal pack with that lenticular cover. They did a bunch of these lenticular covers for the Halloween series. And from, was it NSM Records? So very cool. Love that one. Even though it doesn't have Michael Myers, I still think it's an awesome film. I say just consider it a standalone movie. Great horror Halloween-themed movie. Infestation, really entertaining. Hated the ending. They kind of set it up for a sequel, and no sequel has happened yet. And I don't know why they did that, but it's a lot of fun. Great horror elements, sci-fi elements, and excellent comedy elements here. The Wolfman remake, which I thought was pretty decent. Psycho, this was the cheap one. I think it was like $10 or something with the pink. I kind of like that color scheme for it, and then the blood all washed out going to the drain. Just thought it was something unique and interesting. You don't really see, very, color themed ones like that with the pink, and like especially for the orange one for zombie flesh eaters, Fulci Zombie. Cabin Fever, which is very entertaining. I can't believe they remade that though. The Fly, which I love that friggin' artwork. Got the wraparound piece right there, but there you go. This is the 1958 original. The Woman, which I think is super underrated. This is the German Steelbook. But yeah, I love this film. Very gritty, very raw. And Pollyanna McIntosh now in The Walking Dead. She's got a ton of recognition now from that, but she's been around for a while, and love her in The Woman. Next up is 28 Days Later. Just a modern classic. Danny Boyle's amazing. The score here, just riveting. This one is just pulse-pounding, great infected horror movie. It's not a zombie movie. They say right in the friggin' movie, it's the rage virus. It's a huge difference right there. Our zombies are the dead coming back to life. Infected is a completely separate genre. Like here, you just get a blood droplet in the eye and you become, violent savages, essentially. The Basket Case Trilogy. Love that artwork. And there's the back shot of it. And this is from Second Sight again. They put out some nice steelbooks. Monsters, which is the German release. This has a great throwback sci-fi feel with giant monsters. This one is actually this is another one that I got a while ago from I want to say this is a French edition, but it's region locked. A lot of the ones that I got from other countries aren't necessarily region locked, but this one is. I used to have a region free player. I don't anymore. But this is for the Last Exorcism, which I love the movie, but kind of bummed that one didn't play in the region one. But I have the regular Blu-ray for it. But the red border right there kind of stands out. But yeah, that one got a lot of crap too, but I love the concept for it. Very unique, and I love the ending to it too. This is Day of the Dead, the Arrow video release, so I should actually put out the rest of the Arrow video ones. And it's signed up by George A. Romero, who recently passed away, huge loss. Part of the original Dead trilogy. But very happy to have that in my collection. I was able to get a couple of George A. Romero autographs. This is the American Psycho. I love the design for that. Very cool and unique. You can see the New York City skyscape right there, or cityscape. Very cool. And Christian Bale was made for that role. It's Patrick Bateman. Hellboy, which was a Best Buy exclusive. And another Best Buy exclusive was Christine. And these were both pretty inexpensive. I think they were like 10 bucks a pop. I don't necessarily love this artwork, kind of like the ad for the car, but I dig this part. If it was all just that part, I would like it a lot more. But I love the film. Alright, and on to the next shelf. First up is Predator. And to me, this is just an amazing film. This is one that I can watch anytime. I always watch it when I see it on TV as well. Love the heck out of the cast. And this is another one of my favorites right here, An American Werewolf in London. Probably my favorite werewolf movie. Now, it definitely is my favorite werewolf movie, although Dog Soldiers is right behind. Let me know what your favorite werewolf movie is. And I was able to get this signed up by David Naughton. And I love that horizontal design as well. Classic werewolf movie, and love the transformation scene. Cloverfield, which I was able to get signed up right there by T.J. Miller, who played Hud, the lead character. You see it from his POV. And that stand-up show that I saw T.J. Miller at, he was just out of control. The craziest stand-up show I've ever seen. But it was so cool to meet him at the end. My date and I were the only ones that met him. So it was a really cool experience and just a very memorable show. And awesome that he signed that for me as well. And next up, and that was a German edition right there. Another German edition is Saw, the director's cut, 10th anniversary. Again, I love when steelbooks are different colors like this. The red really pops. Definitely the best Saw movie. After Saw 3, they're just unwatchable. And I knew they were going to make another Saw movie with Jigsaw coming out. You know, the final chapter. It's never the final chapter if they can make more money. The Others, which I got this from Zavvi and it was damaged. I stopped getting Steelbook from Zavvi because they always came damaged and they require you to pay and send it back, and then they reimburse you. So I don't know, I just never got around to doing it for this one right here. That's why I liked Amazon. They're really good with returns and stuff like that, and they'll like send you the label to return, so it's very easy to do. But yeah, always annoyed about that damage, and I never ended up sending it back, but love the movie. Great ghost movie. Next up is 30 Days of Night, one of my all-time favorite movies. Absolutely love this one. I would prefer that to have been the cover. I've never liked that poster artwork. Just think it looks kind of terrible. But I love the movie again. Great, unique vampires. They're very creepy. I love their language. They're just so creep-tastic look right there. And again, I love horror movies with a snowy setting. The blood really pops in the white snow. Love that they didn't cop out at the ending, too. Barrow, Alaska, and I love the concept for it too. I wish that would have been utilized more. It was in a Tales from the Crypt episode, I think season 6, but more movies should have that too, where vampires can utilize the the nighttime prolonged periods like that. War of the Worlds, the remake with Tom Cruise, really enjoyed it, especially the scene where they're in the basement from with Tim Robbins. Very suspenseful. And next up is another horizontal steelbook for The Frighteners. Peter Jackson film with Michael J. Fox. Remember watching that one all the time as a kid. Still holds up for me. Chernobyl Diaries, which this one is one that grew on me. When I first watched it, I wasn't that big into it, and I watched it again. I really enjoyed it, and I watched it again and enjoyed it even more. Devil, which was based on the story from M. Night Shyamalan. And if you look closely, you can see the faces in the elevator door right there. I think he's a great writer, great storyteller, and I enjoy the heck out of that one. I love the cast and how it plays out. Next up is Land of the Dead, as the German horizontal steelbook, and I was able to get this signed up by John Leguizamo. Beautiful signature on that. It's funny because the show was awesome that I got to see him for stand-up, but I had another movie for him to sign, and he was in just sign mode, and he already had a Sharpie in his hand, and I had my silver one, like, out, and he signed it with the black one. You could barely see it, the other movie. So for this one, I made sure I put the pen, like, right up into his face, like, could you sign it with this? And he did, and it turned out perfectly. Love that look, and I love this movie, too. I love his character. Love Dennis Hopper in there. I love how the zombies are evolving and learning. Frailty, which is such an underrated movie. Bill Paxton recently passed away. May he rest in peace. And this is directed by Bill Paxton too. God's Hand Killer. Very underrated, very atmospheric. Matthew McConaughey in there as well. Eden Lake, which has become one of my all-time favorite movies. Just gritty, dirty, raw, riveting, pulse-pounding, and that ending stays with you long after viewing. This is one of those movies that just made me angry afterwards. Kelly Riley was awesome, and Michael Fassbender in here too. Love the heck out of this. Is a Dutch metal pack. And next up is Paranormal Activity 3. Again, I love the look for that, for like the VHS tape right there. And I did enjoy this one. I think the second one's my favorite. Some of them are just, like the first one I thought was terrible. I think one of the most overrated horror movies in history. Nothing happened till the last few seconds, and it's just a jump scare. It's cheap. World War Z with Brad Pitt. I thought this was good action-paced horror. Pulse pounding. And then another Zombieland Steelbook, which I dig the design for in the artwork, and I love the movie, which I talked about already. I should put it. I'm going to alphabetize these so they're all together and stuff. Signal, which is more sci-fi, but it has some horror elements too, and I love that Steelbook, German Steelbook right there. Very underrated film overall. So there you go. There's my complete horror Blu-ray Steelbook collection. Again, if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know what you think of them, and let me know what your favorite of my horror Blu-ray Steelbooks is in my collection, which I just showed you. And let me know if you have any horror Blu-ray Steelbook recommendations for me to pick up for my collection. And if you have any horror Steelbooks in your collection, let me know what your favorite is. Leave me those comments down below, and I hope everybody's doing well. Take care.